What if I told you that a skint single dad from nowhere just became the only person on Earth who could save one of the world's richest women? And what happened next between them will absolutely blow your mind. Right, so imagine this scene for a minute. You're in one of those posh private hospitals where everything costs more than your mortgage. Yeah. The corridors reek of that proper clinical smell mixed with desperation. Doctors are flying about like headless chickens, whispering things that would make your blood run cold. And lying in the fanciest intensive care unit you've ever seen is Victoria Hale, the ruthless CEO of a massive tech empire. We're talking billions here. The kind of money where you could buy a small country and still have change for a yacht. But right now, all that wealth means absolutely nothing because her body is shutting down and nobody can work out why. Picture this woman who's spent her entire life being untouchable, making deals that would make your head spin, crushing competitors without blinking an eye. But now, she's just another patient fighting for every breath, surrounded by machines that are probably worth more than most people's houses. Her family's camped outside looking absolutely shattered. They've flown in specialists from London, New York, even Switzerland. The works. They're throwing millions at experimental treatments that sound like something out of a sci-fi film. But nothing, and I mean nothing, is working. Now here's where our story gets properly mental. In a completely different part of that same hospital, there's this bloke called Ethan Cole sitting in one of those uncomfortable waiting room chairs. He's a single dad, proper decent guy. And he's also a war veteran who's seen things that would give most of us nightmares for years. His little girl, Lily, she's got these massive hazel eyes that could melt your heart, is clinging to his arm like he's her whole world. To be fair, he absolutely is. Ethan's there for nothing dramatic, just a routine checkup for his daughter. You know how it is with kids, better safe than sorry and all that. But fate, right? Fate has this twisted sense of humor. This frantic nurse comes charging past them, shouting into her headset like her life depends on it. She doesn't have much time. None of the transfusions are working. Her body's rejecting absolutely everything. Now, Ethan's got those soldier instincts, hasn't he? Years of military training where you learn to pick up on every detail that might matter. His ears prick up immediately. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Lily asks, giving his hand a proper squeeze. He shakes his head, trying to keep his voice calm. "Nothing, sweetheart. It's just very poorly." But then he hears something that makes his blood run cold. She needs this incredibly rare antigen. If we don't find a match tonight, she won't see morning. Can you imagine? This woman who could probably buy and sell entire hospitals is about to die because her body won't accept anyone else's blood. It's mental when you think about it, isn't it? Right. So there's this desperate call going out for emergency donors, volunteers, anyone willing to roll up their sleeves and try to help. And Ethan, without hesitation, stands up. "I'll give," he says. Simple as that. The nurse looks him up and down like he's lost his marbles. "Sir, you don't understand. We've tested dozens of people already. The odds are basically impossible." But Ethan just rolls up his sleeve with that quiet determination you only get from people who've been through proper hardship. "Try me." And this is where the story gets absolutely bonkers. ... Hours later, and I'm talking about the kind of hours where everyone's holding their breath, the impossible happens. Ethan's blood isn't just a match. It's the only blood on the planet that Victoria's body doesn't reject. It's the only one. The doctors are standing around looking like they've just witnessed a miracle. These are people with decades of medical training, and they can't believe what they're seeing. The monitors that were basically flatlining moments before are suddenly showing proper signs of life. Think about it for a second. It's a billionaire CEO who could afford any treatment money could buy, gets saved by the blood of a man who's probably got about 50 quid in his bank account and a daughter to feed. When Victoria finally wakes up, her voice is barely a whisper, but her eyes are sharp as ever. She spots Ethan sitting quietly in the corner with Lily fast asleep in his arms, and she manages to croak out, "You, ... you saved me." Ethan just shrugs like it's no big deal, just did what anyone would have done. And Victoria, despite being weak as anything, gives this tiny smile. You'd be surprised, not everyone would. Now this is where things get properly interesting. In that moment, surrounded by all those beeping machines and clinical silence, something shifts between them. For the first time in God knows how many years, Victoria feels something beyond the cold calculations of profit margins and hostile takeovers. She feels genuine human connection. Days turn into weeks, and the doctors confirm it wasn't just some fluke. Ethan's blood carries this unique marker that's literally allowing her body to rebuild itself. Mental, right? So he keeps coming back for more transfusions, walking past all these marble walls and intimidating security guards. Yet, carrying nothing but his daughter's little rucksack and that quiet courage that's just part of who he is. And here's the thing that'll get you right in the feels. Victoria starts looking forward to those visits. Not just because they're keeping her alive, but because Ethan talks to her like nobody else does. He doesn't give a toss about her billions, her business empire, or her celebrity status. He cares about whether she's eaten that day, whether she's managed to smile. One evening, as the sun's setting through these massive glass windows in her recovery suite, and we're talking about a room that's probably nicer than most people's entire houses, Victoria asks him something that stops him in his tracks. Why would you risk so much for a complete stranger? Ethan thinks for a moment, glancing over at Lily, who's coloring away in the corner like she hasn't got a care in the world. Then he says something that hits harder than any boardroom speech ever could. Because I know what it feels like to be helpless. On the battlefield, I saw men saved because someone else gave without thinking twice. I promised myself I'd do the same, no matter who needed help. Victoria's eyes well up with tears. No multi-million-pound deal, no record-breaking profit margin had ever moved her like that simple honesty. Of course, the world catches wind of the story pretty quickly. The headlines go mental. War hero's blood saves tech billionaire. But what the newspapers can't capture is this quiet bond forming between two people who've been through their own kinds of hell. Ethan lost his wife years ago, and he's been raising Lily on his own ever since. Victoria buried herself so deep in work that she convinced herself she didn't need love or connection. But every transfusion brings them closer together. Every shared conversation about life, loss, dreams, and what it means to be a parent. One day after another round of treatment, Victoria kneels down beside Lily and says softly, "You know your dad's a proper hero, don't you?" Lily grins with that innocent wisdom only kids possess. "I know, but he gets lonely sometimes too." That simple, childlike honesty hits Victoria harder than any business competitor ever could. The final treatment comes and Victoria's declared completely healed. She's standing on her own 2 feet again, alive not just because of medical science, but because of one man's selfless kindness. At the press conference, and you know there had to be a massive one, everyone expects her to bang on about her company. Medical breakthroughs, maybe throw around some numbers. Instead, she looks straight at Ethan, who's sitting at the back with Lily, trying to stay invisible. "I was saved not by wealth or power," she says, her voice carrying across that silent room, "but by pure selflessness. By a man who gave when he didn't have to." That's what real strength looks like. You could hear a pin drop. Later, away from all the cameras and flashing lights, she approaches him with something different in her eyes. "You gave me my life back, Ethan. Maybe I can give you something too." He raises an eyebrow, curious but cautious. She smiles, not that practiced CEO smile she's perfected over the years, but a real one. "A future, if you'll let me." Fast forward a few months, the headlines have changed again. From battlefield to boardroom, the single dad who won the billionaire's heart. But for Ethan and Victoria, it's not about the headlines or the media circus. It's about laughter around the dinner table. Lily teaching Victoria how to bake chocolate chip cookies without burning them, and finding a second chance at love that neither of them thought was possible. Because sometimes the greatest healing doesn't come from medicine or money. It comes from kindness, from courage, and from hearts that are willing to give without expecting anything back. In a world that often feels proper divided, this story reminds us that compassion has the power to heal more than just physical ailments. It can mend broken hearts, rewrite entire life stories, and create families in the most unexpected places. Right, I don't know about you, but that story's given me all the feels. Just goes to show that you never know when a simple act of kindness might change everything. Whether you're the one giving help or the one who needs it, never underestimate the power of showing up for someone else. If this story touched you like it did me, smash that like button and tell me in the comments about a time when someone's kindness changed your day, maybe your whole life. And don't forget to hit subscribe because trust me, you won't want to miss the incredible stories coming up next. Seriously. Some of them will have you questioning everything you think you know about what really matters in life.